Hi everyone, and welcome to what I'm prepping today. So one thing that we store are fruits in cans and containers, and since I'm lucky enough to have a freeze dryer, one thing I will do is, if we haven't been able to rotate quickly enough, prior to their expiration, not that I wouldn't eat that if I didn't have a freeze dryer and it had expired, I would probably try to rotate through it faster. You know, if the time comes that you need to eat, you're going to eat food that's pretty questionable. Well, maybe not you, but I would. But anyway, so what I'll do is I will pull some things out that are close to expiration, and I'll go ahead and freeze dry them. And we still aren't done with our kitchen cabinets or our kitchen remodel, which you can pretty much tell by the uncovered outlets. We have to paint, and we've only primered, and now we have to scrub down the primer. But let me stay on point here. So this is what I'm going to do this morning, is go ahead and freeze dry these things here. One thing I have learned from freeze drying tuna is that just because the can or container says a certain amount does not mean that is how much tuna or fruit is in the can or jar. What that means is that's the weight of the jar, and a lot of times it's after they add the liquid that they need to bring it up to a certain weight. So since you're supposed to put about 2.5 pounds, or maximum 10 pound per batch in the freeze dryer, what I'll do is I will strain these and then I will weigh them to try to get a more accurate weight across the trays. And I'm also going to, just for curiosity's sake, see what they weigh strained, and I've already got my paperwork ready for that. So I'll be back with you before you even know I'm gone. So I was able to weigh and strain and cut the pineapple chunks. And what I mean by cut is, you know, one chunk is maybe a 1/2 inch wide, and I cut each chunk separately to make them just a tad bit thinner. It allows for more even freeze drying. And the weights of the bottles, I guess you'd call them, because they're not technically cans, were 13.4, 13.2, and in the 12.6 range. So I would say approximately, and I haven't done the exact math, but I would say in what they say is a 20-ounce container of pineapple chunks, the juice, which is, this is the juice that I was able to get from 6 cans. So in a 20-ounce bottle of pineapple chunks from Dole, you're getting approximately 13 ounces of chunks and 7 ounces of juice. So if you want to freeze dry it or use it in a recipe, you just want to, you know, take that into consideration. And I was able to get 26 ounces on 3 trays each. And when I come back, I'm going to do the mandarin oranges in the same way, but I've kind of run out of time, so I'll be back later. And when I come back later, I will either post this as a separate video and call it part 2, with this being part 1, or I will attempt to join them together, which I'm unable to do if they turn out to be over a gigabyte apparently. So okay, thanks for watching, just in case this is the end. Everyone, I'm back, and you didn't even know I was gone, did you? So I did the mandarin oranges. Although I had 4 cans, I was only able to fit 3 on a tray. And just so you know, a 15-ounce can of great value mandarin oranges actually only has between 8.4 and 8.7 ounces in each can. So almost half of it is just the light syrup, or the liquid, whatever that is. I think mine were light syrup. And I've already got the freeze dryer freezing. I did that because I finished up the trays of pineapple prior to being able to do the tray of mandarin oranges, and I had a couple appointments and an errand or two to run. So instead of putting the pineapples in my freezer, the refrigerator freezer, I just put them in the freeze dryer. So that's where they're at. And then I just put the, I turned the freeze dryer on the freeze cycle. And since pineapple and oranges have given me issues in the past when I've freeze dried them, I've always needed to add more time, which is never a problem for me anyway. The cycle that I'm going to do on these is a 9-hour freeze, and it's hard to see because of that glare, and a 24-hour dry. And why 24 hours? Does it need that? No, some people would say 12 is sufficient, but I always add time anyway, so I'm probably not going to be able to get to these anytime soon, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I set the time, it's a custom time, and then just do the start custom, and then asks you of course to close the drain valve, which is closed, and the start, and that's all there is to it. So then my next step is to, well, wish that didn't flip around, but is to write that in the book that I keep track of everything in. This is batch 186. There's the date, and then I put the cycle, 9 hours and 24 hours. That's the freeze and the dry cycle. And then I put the time, and I had to change those because I restarted. And then right there I put what I did. I have dual pineapple chunks, 20 ounces, 26 ounces on each of 3 trays, and then 15 ounces of those mandarin orange cans. And the 3 cans weighed a total, after they were drained, of 25.6 ounces. I usually put the cost or any other notes here, but I wasn't worried about that. I want to just really put those notes in there so that I have them for future reference if I need it. And then over here is where I will end up putting the time that it ran, and then the time that I added. So that's it, and I will see you when it's done, but that's what I prepped today. Just working towards prepping more food. So tell me, what did you prep today?